This NFL DFS Picks Week 2 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, Virginia, and Arizona. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $500 risk-free sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Pickswise. Pickswise is the #1 app for free sports betting picks, props, and parlays. Download the free Pickswise app now to make your next bet better. We're also brought to you by OddsCrowd. Are you the best football bettor in the United States? OddsCrowd challenges you to prove it with their free-to-play fantasy betting contests. Every week, there's a free $350 NFL contest and a free $250 contest. Just head to oddscrowd.com to sign up. And of course, don't forget to download the SGPN app, your home for all of our free picks and podcasts. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer Dog?
Oh man, you know what? Week 1 is great because we get all those Millie Maker lineups. I love firing up the post Sunday night and you see all those circles, just cash. Unfortunately, the one I gave out on air didn't do so well.
Wait, which was the one you gave out?
It was a Matt Ryan line.
Oh yes. Well, Ryan, what were you doing? Tried to tell you, Jonathan Gannon has some creative looks. Never gonna see it coming. Didn't want to believe me. I did my best to help you, Ryan. How about those Eagles? Come on.
Let's start with
Jalen Hurts. Let's go, baby. And let's fire it up. Let's get some of that NFL music. Because we're talking NFL, the National Football League, which you can bet on over at WynnBET. Head over to WynnBET now. Get the $500 risk-free bet. Whew. Plenty of opportunities to cash, especially if you're getting down the Philadelphia Eagles. Live in-game wagering. Man, that Chiefs game, I think Kramer, you got it at like plus 200. So many opportunities in-game wagering. You got to take advantage. That's why you have to download the WynnBET app or head to just wynnbet.com. Also offering Alabama at plus 100. Kyler Murray to score a touchdown rushing or passing at plus 100. Just some of the special bonus opportunities they got over at WynnBET. Head over there, wynnbet.com. Before we bring on our guest, Ryan, it is time for this week's installment, Real Men of Degens, of course, brought to you by PropSwap.com. Promo code SGP.
SGPN presents Real Men of Degens. Real Men of Degens. We salute you,
Norm McDonald. Shout out to Norm. This is a great little Norm quote, and there's so many of them. So many great bits he had over the years. Quote there. This is from People Magazine. The problem with gambling, he says, is that it's much more interesting than anything else. The former SNL star says he loves Las Vegas and bets $200,000 a weekend on basketball games into lightning wagers where he bets $1,000 on each point over under a score. As for joining Gamblers Anonymous, McDonald figured, quote, it's for losers. We salute you, Norm. A true hashtag.
Hashtag Degens only.
Just an awesome.
I mean, it does remind me of that scene from Two for the Money when Pacino goes in and essentially tells everyone at the Gamblers Anonymous meeting that in reality, none of them will be happy until they reach that point at the bottom, and when they're ready to call them. So
give him a ring. All right, joining us on the line, he is the inventor of the DFS Flowchart, John Jackson. What's happening, man?
What is up, fellas? Week 1 is in the books, and now we all know everything we need to know about every team in the NFL, baby.
Well, now as a big data guy, I know you're crunching numbers. You only have one game sample size. It's interesting to look at Week 1. Who in Week 1 do you think had a really good Week 1 from a DFS point of view that you think is still a stay away? Like, who's kind of fool's gold from DFS Week 1?
I mean, I think
That
we've got an easy one right off the top in Jared Goff. I mean, is that guy ever gonna see another good game this year?
Well, that's certainly an outlier, but who knows? I mean, maybe the Detroit defense, they just lost the cornerback Okuda, so maybe they really will be playing from behind all the time. It seemed like he got a bunch of easy stuff to Hawkinson. Really, Kramer and I have been team Jamal Williams, so for him to see all those targets and passing work, pretty stoked about
Detroit shouldered a top 3 quarterback performance and 2 running backs in the top 10. So
does feel like an outlier.
Should we entertain a new nickname?
Sure.
Jared the Garbage Man Goff.
I like it. Taking out the trash there.
I don't even know if any of their receivers caught a pass.
It's pretty amazing.
It's got to be comically low. It was just all Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift, who stuff came up during the week. They may be facing some serious allegations off the field. You can Google DeAndre Swift. And he ended up putting up massive numbers. I thought it was going to be Jamal Williams over DeAndre Swift, but it seemed like they
said 1A, 1B.
Yeah,
we just weren't listening to Anthony.
1B in the Lions offense was still pretty good. What about the other way? I mean, you're rocking your Packers hat.
No.
Certainly we expect a bounce back from Packers Nation here. It's Kramer and I are in this FSGA fantasy league, this trade organization. We had 2 quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Jameis Winston. Obviously, we started Aaron Rodgers because we had Devontae Adams as well.
We were dancing in the streets over that one.
And we somehow won our matchup, which is pretty insane. But what are your takeaways on the Packers and the offense?
I mean, luckily I was fortunate enough to stay away. I didn't play any Rodgers and I don't think I had any Adams even in DFS this weekend. I just completely kind of stayed away from that game. I thought it was going to be a chalky one and it was going to be a bit ugly. So that worked out well. But as a fan, it wasn't great turning it off at halftime and just knowing that Jordan Love was about to hop on the field to sweep up some garbage time. So real tough. Still a little bit frustrated in the way Rodgers handled things this offseason, but we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna a long season, right?
Yeah, and certainly.
Do you mean starting quarterback from the 2022 New York Giants, Aaron Rodgers?
Oh wow, Ryan. They have Daniel Jones.
Oh, I'm falling off the fucking slippery wagon.
Daniel Jones, who played a really good game,
running back, leading rusher, Daniel Jones.
And certainly Green Bay does have like a nice bounce back opportunity Monday night. But what were some of the other fantasy football duds, DFS duds that you think don't get scared away? I mean, again, I had Zeke low. I had Saquon as not a number one, or at least not a first rounder. Zeke, Saquon. I mean, you can maybe Diggs. Okay. Eckler didn't get any passing targets. There were a bunch of, Derrick Henry had a bad game. He had 3 goal line carries, couldn't get it in. Who of these first round DFS duds? And I feel like there were a lot. Christian McCaffrey had a good game, but for the most part, it felt like the first round pretty much shit the bed. Who of those jump out at you as a guy that's going to immediately bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, I just think the Titans have some potential to kind of bounce back and will be slept on a little bit. I mean, a little bit scared with not having their offensive coordinator anymore, trying to get a new scheme rolling. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. There's just too much talent on that team for them to put up what it was, 15 points or whatever against the Cardinals and just really not do anything fantasy wise.
Yeah, that was pretty. I mean, again, Kramer and I were all over the Titans, both from DFS and betting. That was probably one of the more shocking outcomes of the week.
Felt like I wanted to cut my dick off. Sean.
Yeah, I know where Vrabel gets that feeling, and they go up to Seattle. That's a tough place to play. That's a long way to go. But maybe they end up turning things around here.
Which, by the way, great start for the Russ. Lockett, Metcalf, double stack. You pulled that off in best ball season.
Yes, and I know John had some of that Seattle action going as well.
Got it in the FFPC main event. So week 1 off to a great start.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think we were on Russell Wilson MVP. I even gave out Seattle Seahawks. I mean, their price to go 5-0 at 30-1 seemed kind of inflated compared to some of these other ones we were looking at. So off to a good start there. Nice look, but again, Colts probably dog shit. But speaking of the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, who with the O-line issues, with Wentz coming on, I kind of pushed him down, but it seemed like he ended up still getting a decent passing role. Nyheim Hines is still kind of a part of the offense. Any thoughts on the Colts running backs, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're thinking about Taylor, you're excited to see that he got 7 targets. That's a big positive. I don't think you're as excited to see Nyheim Hines take up like 8 carries or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of warranted. They were in a negative game script, which they could be in quite a bit this year. So Hines is going to probably get some of that play, but I'm not too worried about Taylor. I think he's going to be a stud, and he's going to catch quite a bit more passes this year than he did last year.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that I'll be completely wrong on.
Well, yeah, if his passing game role is that consistent, then yeah, I mean fading him preseason wasn't an awesome effort. All right, we're gonna be breaking down giving out a million maker lineup here, trying to get $1 million. Before we do, hit on some Thursday night prize picks action over under. Gonna give out 3 over unders we like for the Giants Washington football team game. Of course, PrizePicks.com, promo code SGP, get that 100% deposit bonus. Kramer, you're very close to the situation. I notice you're not wearing your New York Giants gear, still rocking the VT shirt. What do you do?
Still?
Well,
this is fresh, baby.
I thought you would be maybe supporting your Giants in their time of need. What are you going here in the Prize Pick segment?
Well, I mean, rapid fire. So, some of these.
Yeah. What are your 3 favorite?
I mean. So I actually when I was scrolling through these, I noticed they had first half ones.
Oh, really? This is a real
Degens
I actually
opportunity.
I went full first half.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Number 1 is Taylor Heineke to go over 10.5 rushing yards in the first half. I think God help Patrick Graham if he's not aggressive here and he doesn't just go after the young quarterback. So, and he looked like he was willing to run, right? He looked like he was willing to do what he needs to do to get the first down. So I went right there. That was the first one, and it seemed easy to me. The next one, honestly, I'm going to take Terry McLaurin under 33.5 first half yards. Most likely he's going to be seeing most of Bradbury. Pretty difficult to get off there. Plus, we saw how much the usage of Logan Thomas increased as soon as Heineke came in the game. And then the last one, I have to imagine they're going to continue to do this. So I'm going to take the over for Logan Thomas at 22.5 receiving yards in the first half. So I went an all football team lineup. I stayed away from any controversial takes on Danny Dimes, although his rushing total is insultingly low at 10.5 rush yards.
Well, that's the first half.
Yeah. He's their leading rusher, Sean. You think he can't get 10.5 rushing yards?
I'm with you. I didn't find the first half options, but I'm also in Heineke 19.5 for the entire game. He's basically had 3 games for Washington, 85 rush yards, including last week where he didn't even have a full game, still got 17. So yeah, and clearly he's a willing runner. I think they're not going to have a ton of time to install a bunch of stuff. So when in doubt, he's just going to scramble. Also in Logan Thomas, the Giants really seem to have a weakness guarding the tight end. Yes. You saw Noah Fant eat. I think Logan Thomas 46.5 receiving yards. That's good. Triple over here. Sterling Shepard 57.5 receiving yards. He seems to be the Giants' #1 receiver, and really the only chemistry I saw with Danny Dimes throwing the ball was Sterling Shepard. So he's coming off a 7 catch, 113. I think he can get to low 60s at least. So I like that spot for Shepard. What about you, John? What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm pretty synced up with you guys with Heineke. I took the over 19.5 rushing yards on the game. I took Logan Thomas over 4 receptions. I think if they're able to try to shut down McLaurin, they're going to be going to Thomas a lot, and he's going to be grabbing balls all game. And then I actually went opposite of you, Sean, and went under on Sterling Shepard 57.5.
Okay.
Basically just kind of fading the recency bias of the big game from Shepard and kind of thinking that him, Galladay, and Slayton should probably be a little bit closer in projection just overall, and not really seeing a huge reason why Shepard's so far out ahead.
Because he's always open, baby. By the way, real quick update to my lineup. The prize pick system does not let you play 3 entries all from the same team. So I added a 4th, Daniel Jones over 10.5 rushing yards in the first half. 20 to win 200, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's get to the Millie. I'm already 2 lineups deep, and that doesn't even include my Eagles lineup yet. This lineup does have Eagles in it, but I'll let you start off first, Kramer. What do you got for your quarterback?
I came into it. I mean, all right. I wanted to do a Team Ryan Tannehill lineup, but it seemed too. Is that not the most obvious play on the board this week, or is that actually like a crafty veteran move?
I mean, he's 6,300. I don't know, John. What do you think the ownership on Tannehill will come in at?
I mean, I don't know. I think people might be able to be getting scared from him, and there might be some stuff coming out that this new OC isn't doing the same stuff. He's not doing enough play action, yada yada yada. And I'm assuming after the dud last week, Derrick Henry is going to be very low owned too. So I don't know. There's a potential that people are just off the Titans.
You know what? I'm going to stay away from it. I'll stick with what my primary lineup that I planned on using, which is fade the Cowboys. That defense is trash.
You also took Herbert.
Justin Herbert, 6,700. It sets up a nice stack. Maybe that was the 2E. Maybe this is the chalky play, and the Tannehill is the less chalky play. But yeah, I'm going to start with Herbert, 6,700. I mean, I don't think enough is being said about his performance against a elite defense on the road. I mean, this could be an absolute slaughter.
Yeah, and his numbers. I mean, he threw for like 337, but he only had 1 touchdown. So his number, he's definitely due for a. It feels like if he had a similar game, the numbers I think are going to play out at a much higher clip. And they're at home. I mean, granted, there's going to be, I'm sure, a shit ton of Cowboys fans, but it still seems like a good spot for the Chargers.
You gotta have exposure fading the Cowboys defense until they show us something.
Yeah, I like it, John. What's your quarterback?
Yeah, I went. So I'm going against the Colts secondary this week. Russell Wilson was just airing it out last week, and now they're gonna go up against the Rams, and Matt Stafford was just doing the exact same thing on Sunday night. I mean, it just seems like a pretty gimme there this week. Stafford just gonna be going up and down the field against the Rams or against the Colts, 6,400.
Okay. Now I was planning on doing a Herbert lineup. Luckily, I got my other Galaxy Brain lineup going full Galaxy Brain here. Teddy Bridgewater on the road at the Jags. He's only 5,400. We saw a damn good game from Teddy Bridgewater at the Giants, who the defense should be better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. What we saw to the Jags.
Are you worried about the gloves in the humidity of Florida?
There could be some slippery balls for the Butler, but he's got the towel around. He can polish it off. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater put up some really good numbers, and I feel like his average depth of target was higher than normal Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, 7.3 on the average completion. So I feel like Bridgewater opened it up a little bit, and at 5,400 you can do a bunch of other fun stuff. So give me Teddy Bridgewater 5,400. Kramer, who's your running back?
I mean, I want to start with some exposure to the big dog, Derrick Henry, 8,300. I mean, the running backs in Indy did pretty well last week, and hopefully people are more scared off Derrick Henry. And I think if nothing else, Vrabel probably has that voice in his head, the same one that said threatened to cut off your dick, is probably saying, hey, Derrick Henry didn't touch the ball enough. Yeah. Derrick Henry was not involved in that game. And I think that's the kind of narrative that can, a coach like Vrabel, he's going to listen. 8,300, which might be the cheapest we see Derrick Henry go off all year.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, again, just even that goal line stop. I mean, maybe Derrick Henry's cooked, or maybe that him trying to go get it in from the one. He's going to get stuff like that this week.
The more I've thought about it, honestly, like the more I'd rather play. Like I think this could be a random low scoring. Like Carson has a lot of carries, Henry has a lot of. I don't know. It just seems like you look at what the Seahawks really did last week. I wonder if they're gonna be a pass first team at home here.
Yep, makes sense. John, what do you got? First RB1. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, real quick on Henry, if you're playing GPPs and you didn't at least sprinkle a little bit of Derrick Henry in this last week, I think you gotta kind of go back to the drawing board and see if you're doing things the right way. I mean, there was like very clear chalk plays of McCaffrey, Kamara, and Cook, and Henry was like a third of the ownership of those guys projected. And so it's just, I mean, it didn't work. You know, it didn't work this week. He didn't have a great game, wasn't able to get that ceiling game. But I mean, that's the exact type of stuff you want to have in GPP lineups. So I just have this rule that anytime Christian McCaffrey is under $10,000, you have to play him.
Yes.
And he's 9,900 this week, and will probably be the last time he's in the 4 digits, and I'm loading him up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also on Christian McCaffrey, 9,900. Didn't score a touchdown, which is again, feels like he's due for a touchdown this game. 9 catches on 9 targets for 89 yards. His workload's insane. He didn't even get the 100-yard bonus for rushing. 21 carries on 98 yards. So even if he just rushes for 2 more yards and breaks one of those a little bit, he would have probably hit the 40s. So, and that was the
funniest thing to me was everybody. I mean, McCaffrey goes out for a year, but he kind of forgets like what he does. And there was all these comments on people watching the red zone, like McCaffrey's doing all this. The Panthers have 19 points. It's like, he literally, this is what he does. The Panthers will score 6 points and McCaffrey will have 35 fantasy points. That's just how it works.
Yes. And imagine if they're back, they're still at home here. Imagine if they have a little bit better game and actually put up some points. He really could go off. So I'm with you. Co-sign Christian McCaffrey.
Noted Christian McCaffrey hater.
Me. No, I don't hate him. I just do think he will get injured at some point this year because of the field turf switch out. But until then, I'm going to ride him in DFS.
All right. Next up, my running back 2. I like your guys' angle, by the way. I think similar to my Henry angle. I think just good discount on guys that are just guaranteed to put up points. My next guy is Najee Harris. I think people are going to be wanting to fade him. He didn't have a great game, but he literally had all the touches. So now they're taking on a Vegas Raiders team that was very much up to stop this Ravens team. Still wasn't really able to slow down the rushing attack. I think Pittsburgh, coming off that win, is going to look to establish the run here at home in front of the ownership box, who said, "Get back to Steelers football."
Yeah,
only 6,300. Not many running backs getting 100% of the. I mean, the only other guy really is Christian McCaffrey. Maybe Cook.
Chuba had a couple carries or a couple touches, but yeah,
near
100%.
So the discount is he's not going for 9,900.
No, and I like the Najee play a lot. Raiders coming off that overtime win where they essentially, I mean, how draining must that Monday night have been? We've been in Vegas. I mean, hell, I'm still recovering. You can probably hear it a little bit in our voices. Get the dry Vegas voice, but they were out there, almost played 5 quarters at defense in front of that crazy crowd, and now you got to go across the country to play the Steelers in their home opener. I think that's a tough spot for the defense.
I know. When I built this lineup, I said this is the one.
This is the one. John, RB2, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, real quick on Najee. I mean, he was like that's like the widest range of outcomes, wrong side of variance he could have possibly had this weekend. I think it was like the second lowest all-time score of anybody who played 100% of the snaps or something like that. And so,
wow,
he's the exact same price he was last week, I think. And he was pretty popular last week, and he probably won't be popular this week. And I'm all about it. I like Najee for sure. So I went ahead and just backed up another Escalade here in the running back spot, and I'm a little correlation here along with McCaffrey, but I went Kamara too.
Yes,
so,
I like it.
Just running it right back with the 2 chalky guys from last week. And they're going to be in the same game, just probably both going for like 10 catches. So give me Kamara, 8,800.
It does seem, and everyone thought Callaway was going to be the Saints' #1 guy, and maybe he will be. I mean, Jameis only threw 20 passes, so it's tough to tell if it was just
5 touchdowns on 150 yards.
You're telling me LASIK eye surgery doesn't work? Come on. Jameis, no INTs on 20 passes, and 5 of those went for a touchdown. It does feel like Kamara though is certainly up there. I think, when we heard Jameis was going to be the starter, you're like, is he going to check it down to Kamara as much? We'll see. He likes to throw the deep ball. Maybe Callaway's the guy, and I still think Callaway has a role. And actually, I do think he's super cheap. He's kind of an interesting dark horse candidate as well. But I'm going to go David Montgomery for the Bears. He was basically the only guy on that Bears offense that had success against the Rams. Now they're at home against the Bengals, who again felt like kind of a big win for the Bengals. Non-conference road spot for them. The Bears, I mean, I think they'll be up for this game, and I think their offensive line, it's in kind of rough shape, but I think they can kind of hold their own against Cincinnati. And David Montgomery, he's looking good. He's looking good, like 6.8 yards per carry. He got a touchdown. He got a catch. Like, I think he's going to be involved. If you're Nagy scheming up a game plan, I think you got to give Montgomery even more touches. 6,100. I love the opportunity for David Montgomery there. I mean, am I crazy, Kramer?
No, I have him in a couple of my builds, Sean. No, I mean, I like him this week. I think, we saw Cook didn't have a super great game, but you can see it's there. That Bengals defense is on the edge,
Yeah. And again, I think the Vikings, they just weren't ready for that game.
No.
Yeah. I'm trying to hang on to some of my hot takes from the beginning of the fantasy season. I'm also trying to hang on to my hair. It gets a lot easier when you got Keeps. Low cost treatment starting at just $10 a month. Keeps hooks you up. Again, you can get the virtual consultation. Very easy there. They got discreet packaging and proven results. Make sure you give them a follow. And Keeps more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/SGP to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/SGP to get your first month free. Keeps.com/SGP. I'm trying to hang on to my hair and my cash with Mint Mobile. I'm tired of getting ripped off. I mean, Ryan, imagine a cellular company. $15 a month sounds too good to be true. It's not. Like I said, they got rid of the sign spinners, got down to the turkey, aka the sauce as they call it. Mint Mobile premium wireless, just $15 a month, unlimited talk and text. Let's go. And it's easy. You can switch your phone, keep your phone number, your obviously your actual phone, your contacts. 7-day money back guarantee. And again, just $15 a month. Mintmobile.com/sportsSGP. Mintmobile.com/sportsSGP. Kramer, dog. Who is your first receiver this week?
Well, I mean, when you have Herbert as your QB1,
yeah,
you have to put in Keenan Allen as your wide receiver 1. Looking at the target distribution from week 1, Keenan Allen 13, Mike Williams 12. Jared Cook 8, Guyton 5. So pretty narrow. Got to take Keenan Allen. I mean, it seems like his floor is 13 targets in this game. I feel like his ceiling is like 20 to 25 targets. He's going to catch a lot of stuff. He might not see all the red zone targets, but who cares? Love Keenan, especially in cash plays. High floor, 7,000.
No, I mean he is certainly up there, and the outlier case for him to go off, opening up the stadium at home against that Cowboys defense, I think is certainly there. John, what do you got for your first receiver?
Yeah, so I'm going to go start up the stack with Stafford. 2 options: Cooper Kupp 6,000 or Robert Woods 5,700. I'm kind of leaning that Woods may be a little bit more popular just because he's a little bit cheaper. And so I'm going to go with Kupp at 6,000. And I think looking at the target share, Kupp had, I think, like 38% target share this last week compared to 17 or something like that from Woods. So pretty big difference. I was a little bit surprised when I saw that. And I think Kupp's just a stud, and I love him at 6K.
Yeah. What do you think about Van Jefferson? Any, I mean, does that feel like an outlier game? That was certainly what he had, like an 80-yard bomb he caught, or is he, he seemed kind of like the cute play last year. Does he kind of get some of that upside in this new look Rams offense?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, he's 3,500 this week, so he's going to fall into that bucket of cheap receivers that are probably pretty popular, especially because he just had a big game.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty easy fade. And I mean, honestly, like when I saw that play, I immediately thought it was Deshaun Jackson. And just that's how Deshaun Jackson works. He always goes off in week 1, and it wasn't. It was Van Jefferson. So 3,300 this week, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, if Van Jefferson ends up being pretty chalky, that's like a super easy pivot in my opinion going to.
Yeah. And just, I guess I'll pile on because he's one of my receivers as well. I think to the point of fading the Colts, I see that Tyler Lockett touchdown of him just. So I immediately
and real quick, that be like that over the shoulder catch that Lockett had. I mean, that was just a pretty ball by Danger Russ, and just awesome catch by Tyler Lockett to track that ball. It looked way easier than I'm sure it actually was. So it was awesome to see them get carved up.
Yeah. I mean, he's my I've given out now 2 receivers, but Deshaun Jackson just seems like the kind of GPP dart throw you got to have in there.
Agreed. My first receiver for the lineup here. Now maybe he'll be chalky, because to me it seems so obvious. This is the receiver 1. I have his jersey. Looked amazing. First catch as an Eagle. Devonta Smith, $5,400 at home. Certainly, you normally don't want to take a guy whose price has gotten bumped up.
Chasing points,
but also like they're clearly have a massive role for Devonta Smith, and then 49ers just who is it? Verrett just tore his ACL. They just signed Dre Kirkpatrick. So I don't see how he's not going to get, again, 8 to 10 targets. I think he's going to get involved, and clearly he has a chemistry with Jalen Hurts, as you saw from week 1. San Francisco does have a tough defense, but I really like this situation, especially for Devonta.
Yeah, good for you. I'm happy for you. Great. I mean,
Kramer, that's not analysis.
What John will tell you you're chasing results.
Tell me I'm being a homer.
You don't get credit for the points last week.
I mean, I don't hate it. I think Smith's a stud, and I really think Hurts is going to be pretty good this year. And I think he was kind of that sleeper, not sleeper, but that running quarterback that is probably going to end up paying off pretty well for people in the late rounds. So I don't hate it.
Massive upside. Kramer, what do you got? Who's your next one?
You act like I didn't have Jalen Hurts as my number 8 quarterback. I'm in on the idea of him being a decent fantasy quarterback. I'm surprised he's winning football games, I will say.
Yeah.
All right, I already gave out my second one. It was Deshaun Jackson. So John.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. John, who's your second receiver?
Yeah. So I went with Michael Pittman to kind of bring it back against the Rams. He was kind of a popular play this past week as kind of a bring back with the Seattle stacks that gained a little bit of steam. And then Zach Pascal went out for 2 touchdowns, and Pittman didn't do a whole lot. So I think the price tag went down a little bit or stayed roughly the same for Pittman. I still think he is going to be the wide receiver 1. He's probably going to be seeing a little bit of Jalen Ramsey, which isn't great. But I'll just go with Pittman as the bring back. He's actually cheaper than Pascal this week. So I'll lean into that.
So I looked at that game too, and I was going back and forth because I thought Pittman was the guy, but then it's like, well, they're probably going to put Ramsey on Pittman, and then Pascal is still interesting because of that price point, and clearly Wentz likes to target him. But then he had a 2 touchdown game. What are the odds he's going to do that again?
Right.
I'm with you. I think Pittman is the call, but I was kind of going back and forth on that. Couldn't find a good angle. So in my Denver stack, I'm going to bring it back with Marvin Jones Jr. for $4,700. 9 targets, 5 catches, 77 yards, had a touchdown. It seems like he's one of the guys that has some chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. I think Denver could get up in the same way that the Texans got up on the Jags. I think it's kind of a disaster in Jacksonville, and Marvin Jones, it seems like the veteran that's still going to be a big part of the offense. So yeah, I'm Marvin Jones Jr. 4,700. I still think the volume this guy should see makes it make sense. And I couldn't really afford Chenault or Chark, but all of them I think are probably a crapshoot there.
Fun fact about DJ Chark: he only behind Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller in air yards for week 1.
Really? So maybe I should try and find a way. Yeah, he's so much.
Can we touch back on the Jags are kind of a disaster? I mean, Urban Meyer is literally overwhelmed after 1 week in the NFL. I think that's more than a disaster.
We were joking on the college show, but I think there's a very real chance he before the end of the NFL season he takes the USC job.
No, it is.
What's a better job, Jacksonville or USC in Urban Meyer's mind?
Oh, USC, because you can. It's way easier to get good players on your team. Yeah. It's easier. You get more recognition. You don't have to live in Jacksonville. There's like a lot of positives to being the USC head coach.
Oh man, it's gonna be so great.
All right, Kramer, who's your third receiver?
I'm going to bring it back with CD Lamb. I mean, 6,400. You know, Cooper got a lot of work too. CD Lamb just looked like he's the guy that scares me. Like he's the scariest offensive player in the division. For my money, dude looks like he could be completely uncoverable. Seems to have a certain chemistry with Dak, and when you have like just a bona fide stud with Cooper on the other side, drawing attention away, I think CD Lamb is going to continue to just absorb targets and. With Dak averaging 17.5. So I think the ceiling is pretty high here and willing, in some cases you got to put a cowboy in the lineup, got to bring it back with someone.
I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised CD Lamb looked good, but I didn't see Cooper having the game that he did. And maybe the targets will be a little more concentrated. Michael Gallup is out now for a while. So
I thought about playing like whoever the third guy is going to be in the offense.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson probably.
But I didn't want to get cute. CeeDee Lamb just seems like such a lock to perform. So
what about you, John, third receiver?
Yeah. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Josh Allen this week. He was pretty popular going against the Steelers. We know the Steelers have a good defense, and he kind of shit the bed, but now he's going up against Miami. I just can't see the Bills like having another week like ever and where they don't score 30 points. I mean, this is supposed to be an explosive offense, and they kind of got throttled by the Steelers. So I went with the cheap option there with Emmanuel Sanders at 4,000. I just can see that this could be a good bounce back week for Allen, and he's spreading the ball around, and all the receivers get some action.
I do circle that game as like I wonder how Buffalo is going to perform down there in the humidity of Florida, like kind of with a little bit of extra urgency. Like
it could be a little tight.
This could be the kind of game where Josh Allen looks drunk out on the field, making mistakes, just trying to do everything.
To me, it was like a prime overlooked spot if they got that week 1 win, right? If they got that big win over Pittsburgh and then they come into Miami, and that's a spot that Miami could jump out. But now, after they kind of looked like crap in week 1, they really got to lock it in. I think they're going to be pretty dialed in against a division opponent.
And we had the some of the replays of the games on God's Eye today in the office. And one of the things I noticed with watching the replay of the Buffalo Steelers game is it just seemed like Josh Allen wasn't playing horrible. He just didn't hit a single shot. Like his shot, his deep ball was fucking horrible. And that's kind of what he was before. So again, back to the regression army of Josh Allen took a historic jump. Maybe he drops back. Those deep passes, which made his season last year, they weren't firing last week. So
agreed.
Little worried.
My third receiver, very cheap option. Expect him to be involved. He's part of my Denver double stack. Give me KJ Hamler, who now that there's no Jerry Jeudy, he looks to be involved in a big way. I mean, I was kind of going back and forth between him, Tim Patrick, but I think KJ Hamler and Noah Fant, who we'll get to here in a second, I think those are the guys that are going to get a ton of targets and should have a good opportunity against Jacksonville's D. So give me KJ Hamler, only 3,800.
Yeah, so many KJ Hamler best ball shares.
Oh my God,
round 17, 18. I was just hammering him.
He's free.
Yeah, it is true, and it's all based on that video I saw last year of him just dusting someone in training camp off the line. It was like, oh wow, he's athletic.
He had a couple of big games. I mean, honestly, the fact that Bridgewater is the quarterback maybe limits his upside because he's not going to take not as inclined to take the D shots as Drew Lock. But I certainly think he has a case to see a bunch of volume and maybe break one against a team that just looks out of sorts.
I like to play, and Pat Shermer not afraid to throw it a little bit more than you'd expect, even in a matchup where they should be winning most of the game. All right, are we on tight end?
We are.
Oh, give me Cole Kmet, 7 targets week 1. Yep. I have this guy on virtually all of my bet. I think he's north of 30% ownership in my best ball world.
Same.
He just Jimmy Graham was barely out there. Cole Kmet, a really tough matchup. You saw what the Rams front was doing to that Bears team, and I just think this Cincinnati team they're always soft against the tight end. They're soft again I guess we didn't see much last week, but I'm willing to bet on it here again. Cole Kmet, and the last thing I'll say is around the red zone. It does bother me a little bit that they bring in Justin Fields as the gimmick, taking away potential targets. But I fully expect Cole Kmet to receive a couple red zone targets in this game. So 3,700, feel like that's a positive shot to get a guy who's going to get. If he gets 7 targets and scores a touchdown on this one, definitely will outpace his 3,700.
Oh yeah. I mean, we were all over Cole Kmet preseason. I mean, when we were doing these best balls to get him and Justin Fields late, it was just such a fun, easy stack. It seemed like even Jimmy Graham saw the writing on the wall. He was passing the torch to Cole Kmet, and early results, a good look for Cole Kmet. What about you at tight end, John?
Yeah. So before I jump into tight end, I'll do a little strategy talk on double stacking here. So I talked about it in my intro to the Flowchart, and it was like one of the biggest leverage spots of the year last year was double stacking your quarterback. I think something around like 28% of the field did it, and in top 100 lineups, it was like almost 40% of top 100 lineups double stacked. And so thinking back to like this past week that just happened, there was like not outside of the obvious one, Mahomes plus Hill plus Kelsey, there wasn't a whole lot of double stacks that really got there this week. And so I think there's going to be a bit of an overreaction to that, and people aren't going to want to do it. And I think I'm just going to kind of lean into that and go really heavy on the double stacks. And so with all that being said, I went Tyler Higbee here, 4,100 to pair up with Kupp and Stafford. I think this is really going to be kind of the season that everybody thought Higbee was going to have last year. He's pretty much got the tight end position to himself now. And he's got a much more competent quarterback. And I think Higbee's going to keep performing well.
I like Higbee, and I think what we saw week 1 only validates the fact that Sean McVay is taking out his sports car, and now that he doesn't have Cam Akers, he's just going to be slinging that rock around. And Higbee's got to get a piece because these wide receivers are going to draw enough attention. Agreed.
Yeah, and I was kind of leading. I like the Higbee stuff. I mean, I think we moved him up after the injury stuff with Cam Akers, and again, you saw him getting involved. I'm on Noah Fant as part of my double stack, like John there, going receiver and tight end. Teddy Bridgewater, it just gut tells me Teddy Bridgewater likes throwing to a guy like Noah Fant. You saw in big situations in the Giants game, he went out of his way to find Fant. I think Fant can get some red zone looks. Didn't get a touchdown last week. I kind of feel like he's due against the Jags to get a touchdown. And at 4,200, pretty reasonably priced, I think, for the expected volume, especially with Judy out. I mean, someone has to get those Judy targets, and God damn it, Judy looked pretty good.
And going
early,
back and watching that tape, you saw how many schemed like quick hitters to the tight ends there were. So just like game plan involvement, I doubt it's going to be specific to the Giants. I think it fits what Teddy Bridgewater does well.
Yeah. Well, in general, I think just correlating tight end with quarterback is a smart thing to do. I mean, it's such a crapshoot every week with tight end. You're pretty much banking on touchdowns to get you to the top of kind of the list there on tight end. And so the more that you can do to correlate tight end, I think is positive overall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. We should at least no one brought up Freiermuth, and he gets the Raiders. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong side of that. I was going to say the Ravens. Who do they have, Sean?
What?
Who do the Ravens have? They're not even part of the card. That's why we didn't bring it up. I was going to say they just gave up 20 targets to a tight end. That's an interesting concept.
That's a nice little.
It could be
spot
team specific to the Raiders, who, by the way,
oh my God,
fired on a Darren Waller, number 6 in the first round FFPC main event, feeling like a fucking genius.
Yeah, in our ETH league, we had Darren Waller,
3rd round, baby.
Oh, and it was obviously pretty money Monday night, and we were the highest scoring team in the league, so no big deal, Ryan. Off to a nice start there.
Deal. Let's go.
No one wants to hear us roster bait.
Oh, they do.
Quick shout out to PicksWise, #1 app for sports betting picks, helmed by a team of trend watching, data devouring sports fanatics, giving you the who, how, and why behind every prediction for every game, every day, and every sport. Loaded with best bets, props, and parlays. You can find in-depth analysis on every game, all for free. Found your pick, search the latest sportsbook promotions to sign up for an account, compare the odds, and finally place your bet. Download the free Pickswise app now to make your next bet better. Pickswise backs responsible gambling. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And Odds Crowd, baby. Go to oddscrowd.com. Get involved in all the contests. Giving away tons of cash. It's free fantasy betting contests. We have an SGPN exclusive one every week, giving away $100. So make sure you check that out. Oddscrowd.com or just download the Odds Crowd app.
And Sean, shout out to Danny Locks in second place in,
Yes.
the NFL season contest, formerly the free roll football contest.
Exactly. What do you got in your flex, Kramer?
I very much considered throwing in Jared Cook as we saw the narrow target distribution in Los Angeles, and I thought about going with a deep pull like a Palmer or a Guyton, but I thought just seeing how much Mike Williams and Keenan Allen were involved, I wasn't going to mess with that. Dallas has trash for secondary, especially the cornerbacks. We saw, Gronk had a nice game, but fully expect Mike Williams to be involved going down the field against this secondary who lets you take the top off of them, Sean. 6,100. Yeah, I've never felt better about a double stack. Sitting fading the Cowboys. Let's go.
On the road, that defense, I guess they have a couple extra days.
Does Herbert go for 400? That's a prop I'm taking.
That's in the mix. That's in the mix. And if they can limit the turnovers, because that's really what kept them in that Tampa Bay game. If they can limit the turnovers, they should be in a really good spot. What about you, John? What are you looking for your flex spot?
Yeah, so I'm going with Jalen Waddle here. Doing a little bit of a secondary stack with Emmanuel Sanders. Trying to up the correlation there. 4,500. I think Waddle was just pretty impressive in week one. He was kind of the him and Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase were kind of the three rookies that really showed out. I just like Waddle. I think he's still a little bit underpriced at 4,500. He's probably going to end up going quite a bit higher. I just continue. I'm just going to keep trying to hammer this correlation and try to go against the results that just happened. I mean, I was looking through the Millie Maker earlier, and like the third place lineup is ridiculous. It's a Jared Goff quarterback, TJ Hawkinson tight end, and you're thinking, okay, cool. He's probably got Deebo Samuel. Nope. Didn't have any San Francisco bring back. He just hit the lottery with Jamar Chase, Christian Kirk, Tyreek Hill parlay. I mean, some of these lineups are crazy, and I think people are just going to kind of forget the importance of some of this correlation. So I'm leaning into it heavy.
I like it. Yeah, they'll forget about the value of the double stack with the bring back.
Care to comment on Tua at all? No.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he didn't look that good.
I'm not big on Tua.
He didn't look that good. They got the W, so kudos
I'm just
to them.
saying he went on the road, won in New England.
No, I said it was a good win.
As a noted Tua hater,
even the Tua truthers in my mentions were like, yeah, he still needs to improve, but we got the W. That's all that matters. It's like, okay,
he won.
Yeah, no,
without the help of Daddy, aka Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He was there getting that fumble, jarred it loose as New England was about to go in for the score. I mean, 200 yards passing in the NFL.
New England's got a good defense.
Okay,
you're being hard on the kid.
I mean, if he lights it up, I'll keep eating my words. But he didn't look amazing. It was very one read stuff. Tell me you watched Tua go through a bunch of progressions, find the right guy, and hit a deep out. Then I'll change my opinion.
Well, we also had that game on the replay, and God's eye was hard at work today, showing us replays of NFL games. Yeah, I mean, look, he didn't make a ton of tough throws.
No,
but he made some throws, and he beat the Patriots at their home in a game that we thought they would lose.
It was a nice win, and I've already congratulated them, Ryan, on the recap podcast. Justin Jefferson. I'm going with him. $7,400. Minnesota's on the road. Here's the thing, though. For Justin Jefferson, not an insane game. 9 targets, only 5 catches. He's usually more efficient than that. Didn't get into the end zone, and I think my big takeaway from that Minnesota Cincy game was more about Minnesota's defense. I think their offense in a dome will be able to move the ball. Maybe Arizona's defense is really that good and they're not going to be able, but I think Arizona's offense is going to be able to score on this Vikings defense, open it up. And I think they're going to be playing from behind. So I like Justin Jefferson at 7,400.
You're not worried the chemistry between Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins is only getting stronger as they, with the new construction company, build in plexiglass cubes.
He's going to be adding a patio onto his.
Justin Jefferson's just out playing catch with the backup quarterback.
Yeah, there's
Kurt, where are you at? We're expanding to 15,000 square feet in the quarterback room.
A lot of interesting dynamics going on in there, but I think this is now Justin Jefferson fits a nice window where he didn't have a horrible game. He still got the targets. He just had, I mean, for a guy like him, he's able to really get super efficient. And also you want to talk about regression. I mean, we had him in our ETH League fantasy, and I mean, I didn't get a great look at the replay, but there was that one play he probably should have been.
I thought he was in.
They ruled it a touchdown. I think they overturned it. So
that could be a 5-figure call for us. 6-figure call.
Stuff like that is hopefully going to swing back his way. So 7,400 Justin Jefferson. What about your defense, Kramer?
I like it too because I don't think he'll be super popular.
No, I don't think anyone's going to be dying to stack.
He's a fun bring back
Vikings.
if you're playing Kyler too.
Yeah.
All right, my defense. What do I like to do? Punt.
Yep.
Pay no money and take home defenses in positive situations. So what better than fade a rookie quarterback coming off a heartbreaking loss? Give me the Jets 2,200.
Yep.
They didn't look absolutely horrible against the Panthers. And again, defensive head coach. This is a big divisional game. The Patriots offense didn't exactly look like they're going to be ready to shred anyone. I think it's going to be a lot of running of the ball, and I expect Saleh to be able to scheme up ways to make McCorkle make mistakes. So 2,200. Too many words on that. Jets defense.
It's a cheap defense. I like the angle on it, and I think we both thought the Carolina Jets game would be a bit of more of a shootout. So maybe kudos to the Jets defense for going on the road and limiting them only to 19
now.
points. Yeah. What about you, John? What do you got for your defense?
Yeah, I like to keep it cheap on the defense as well. I think a lot of people like to think about defense and playing them in low scoring games, but I'm a fan of playing defenses in high scoring games, more potential for sacks, more potential for interceptions. We know our boy Baker likes to toss a few picks out there every once in a while. I couldn't name a player on the Texans defense.
Yes.
$2,000.
We're going to be a Texans podcast because when they make the playoffs, and cash my when they win the division and cash my plus 1,300, get the fuck out of
David
here.
Culley's got to invite us to one of these barbecues.
I mean, John was not with us in Vegas, but I had a ticket for them to be the highest scoring team week 1. Was not that far off.
Fun sweat.
14-0 before you blinked your eyes. Tyrod, let's go.
There are a couple. You guys named two of the defenses I have my eyes on. Obviously, the Eagles at home, 2,400. Also a fun one there. I'm paying up slightly more than I normally do. 3,000 is probably. I'm definitely not usually spending more than that, but in this case, I'm gonna take the Steelers at home. $3,000. I mean, man, that Steelers defense is just so good, and they're at home. Raiders are on a short week. Again, we mentioned that like kind of emotional game. It just seems like it's going to be a tough spot for them. I mean, they just had a defensive touchdown, so I don't think they're, I don't like taking a team back to back defensive touchdowns like that, but man, $3,000 at home, like just looking at it, gut check. I mean, Rams are $1,100 more than the Steelers. That seems crazy to me.
Carr also is a pretty, Carr and Roethlisberger with their home road splits. Carr not nearly the guy he is on the road. So.
And you saw him backpedaling a bunch. I think the Raiders offensive line is still figuring out a ton of shit. So.
Also, we're not really sure, but the Bills might still be good, and the Steelers could just be absolutely dominant.
That defense could just be next level. Caught them sleeping a little bit, and I just really like the situation for the Steelers.
This happens every year too. I mean, it seems like the Raiders come out somehow. They're always like on the first Monday night football game of the year.
Yeah, the West Coast.
It was like John Gruden's first game, and then it's like the opening of the stadium. And I don't know what the hell it was this year, but they're on it again. They rally the Raider Nation behind them.
Raiders
shit the bed the rest of the year. So
there was an eye patch on the Sphinx at the Luxor. So,
yeah, it does feel like they'll probably unravel there. Although I saw some stuff out of that defense that I feel like I haven't seen in previous years.
The pass rush,
and I think quietly that home field felt legit. Like the noise or whatever, they seem to be getting to Lamar a little bit. So maybe there's a little bit of hope for Raider Nation at least more. Let's
see
than
how they
most
look
years.
on the road. In this one.
That I think is really where things are gonna get kind of wonky for them. Well, John, appreciate you calling in. Make sure you give John a follow on Twitter at JohnBoyBeats. He's got the Flowchart on our site, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. He's got his workload report. What else are you grinding on, John?
Yeah, that's the two main things that I'm focused on this year. Workload report will be coming out later tonight. You can find that on Twitter. And the Flowchart fizzled out with Ryan Tannehill, but we'll be coming back strong this week. I know.
Let's go.
I was so disappointed in Tannehill.
We all were.
That's what I ran that in the $100 Millie Maker. It just seemed like it was so obvious. And then when the first half, the way it happened, I smashed the money line at halftime. It's like, well, Kingsbury, huge nugget I found breaking down the team. He sucks at adjusting. So I'm going to fade this. And they're just going to have one of those. We've already seen the game. Like I could visualize it. Tannehill comes back, like Julio makes an awesome.
They should have been what the Lions were.
Yeah.
With the Titans.
Yeah. That's what we were hoping for. And the one thing that scared me was when everyone, it seemed like, was on the Titans Cardinals over 51,
including
I forget who sent me the message that it was the biggest liability of the book. I go, oh shit, this is something bad's gonna happen. It was just a wonky ass game.
Well, the way it happened too, like no points in the fourth quarter, basically.
Yeah,
like, come on,
completely hit a wall there. They weren't. I mean, I wasn't shocked that they lost. I was shocked they weren't getting garbage points, garbage yards at the. I mean, Cardinals were on the road. What are you playing for, guys?
Yeah, what the hell?
Get home, enjoy that win, get off the field.
All
right, everyone.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Make sure you drop a nice rating and review over the old Apple Podcast. Get a chance to win gear every Monday, aka Merch Monday. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
45% of your budget on Elijah Mitchell.
Kramer, let it ride.